Good afternoon. I'm Pam Bowles, Executive Director of the North Mason Chamber in Belfair, and we thank you for attending today's webinar. We are pleased to work with the Shelton-Mason Chamber and the EDC to bring you this program, the last in our series. I'd also like to thank our Chamber and EDC boards, and especially you, our members who are logged in. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Heidi McCutcheon with the Shelton-Mason County Chamber of Commerce. We are happy to have you with us today. We are recording today's presentation. The video recording will be available at masonchamber.com this afternoon. We also will provide today's slide, and that will be available online as well.
You will have an opportunity to submit text questions to our today's presenters by typing your questions in the question panel on the control panel on your screen. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and we'll address them and have your answers during the question and answer series session.
So 2020 has posed unique challenges. We are pleased to convene local leaders to discuss the state of the community. This year, we expanded the program to be a 4-part series. Today is the last of those. We've already heard from Mason County and City of Shelton, local schools, ports, and utilities. Today, it's our pleasure to be joined by David Owens from Skokomish Indian Tribal Enterprises and Ray Peters from the Squaxin Island Tribe.
So today we will begin with David Owens, the Skokomish Indian Tribal Enterprises. Gotta get me back up there. David Owens began his gaming career in Las Vegas, Nevada in 1985. Notable at Caesar's Palace from 1989 to 2000 and as a member of the opening management team of the Aladdin, now called the Planet Hollywood, in 2000. David relocated to Oklahoma in 2003, where he worked directly with the tribal councils and gaming commissions, developing and managing tribal businesses and casinos as a casino general manager, director of gaming, and vice president of development. David is currently the CEO of the Tribal Enterprises for Skokomish Tribal of Washington. Welcome, David.
Sorry, Dave, you're on mute still. There we go. Yes.
Every time I touched it, it remuted. Good afternoon, and glad to be here today to share a little bit about Skokomish Indian Tribal Enterprises here in 2020. What I did in this presentation is I just gave an overview of the businesses themselves, and I didn't really go into COVID-19 or what we're doing now. And what I'd like to do is, as I talk about each business, kind of just give you a brief overview of what we're doing right now and how we're approaching COVID-19 and what some of our future plans is, as I can share them today. So if you don't mind, can you go to the first slide, please? Do I have control over this? Thank you. As you know, one of our businesses is Lucky Dog Casino, which is about 7 miles north of Shelton. And Lucky Dog's been there since the year 2000. It closed for a small period in 2009. Reopened in 2010, and it's had a few expansions since then, but it's been very successful ever since. We closed Lucky Dog on March 16th, like a lot of casinos in Washington State, and we opened. Thank you. And we opened at the beginning of July. We were one of the last casinos to open, mostly because of the size of the Skokomish reservation. The Skokomish tribe has a little over 800 tribal members, and just north of 300 of them live on the reservation. So we really were very careful about how we brought tourism in and what we did with our businesses. So as we closed things down, we actually closed everything down for quite a period of time. We closed Lucky Dog down for 4.5 months. And during that time, we actually paid the employees and they were able to stay home. And as we opened back up, we did it slowly and we retrained everyone. We changed a lot of our procedures. It's a must-wear mask environment. We took out all the drink stations. We changed our business hours in the last adjustment they made to phase 3. We stopped selling alcohol at 10. We close at midnight. We've been very successful. We feel it's a very safe place to game. A lot of our customers feel comfortable there. Obviously, it's quite different than what we've ever done it before. Could you please go to the next graphic? We have an event room that holds 300 people. We stopped having events even before we closed. About 2 weeks before we closed, we stopped doing giveaways and we stopped having the types of promotions that we would normally have. And we've been using the event room for the tribal administration and the tribal council ever since we closed, and it's been very useful. They also, as you know, have a new community center they built several years ago right across the highway, which has also been closed, and they're just starting to get that reopened to do some things with their education program. Could you please go to the next slide? A little information about Lucky Dog. We have 13,000 square feet of gaming, 175 gaming machines. We don't have table games or any other style of gaming. We have a bar and grill called the Drift. The event center I just showed you. We have a non-smoking gaming area, about 60 employees, and we've done expansions in 2006 and 2013. Twin Totems is on the same pad. It's right next door. I think that if I got this right, I think it opened in 1974, a version of it, and we've done a lot of expansion and changes. We just completely reskinned and spent a lot of money on the store. We brought in ethanol-free gas, and we completely redid the inside of the store and redeveloped and redesigned some things. We're investing in a lot of different types of software. So it's been closed since the week of March 16th. It's open to the community only, but the gas pumps are open on credit. We brought in some porta potties for people to be able to use because it's kind of a long stretch drive from Shelton to Hoodsport. And we keep it closed now. We're looking at some opportunities to open it up partially, at least, for the general public again. But it's been really important for the tribal community to have a safe place to go, and we wanted to be able to keep them on the reservation as much as possible. So we've used it to sell grocery items that we brought in and give people a safe place to go. It's also a must-wear mask environment, has been since the beginning. We did a lot of redevelopment inside of there as well. A lot of plexiglass, standing zones, hand sanitizing stations, things we're all used to now. Next slide, please. Waterfront at Potlatch is just up the road from there north, about 4 miles, and it's a motel RV park that we've had since 2006. And it's a property that typically sells out in the summertime on the weekends and during the peak season. We decided to go ahead and close it and reserve it for the tribe in case they had any needs during the pandemic. So it's remained closed. We opened the RV section back up. We have 14 RV spots that are waterside RV spots. We opened those up about 5 weeks ago, but we continue to have the guest rooms closed, and we're evaluating now when we're going to start reopening this in portions, but a portion of it is still reserved for the tribe until we get out of the pandemic and out of our state of emergency. So it's been very good to have it here, and we've actually used it to assist us in some isolations and some other things. And just keep in mind, our reservation is very small, so resources can be limited, but once we were able to evaluate what we have and what we needed to do, we were able to do everything quite well. So this has really helped the tribe out, and I really hope to get some rooms back in revenue towards in October or in November. but we're going to continue to evaluate. And as long as the numbers of infected sick people keep going down in Mason County as they are now, I'm hopeful that we might be able to, now that we're out of the tourism season, not see the spikes we did 4 and 6 weeks ago with 75, people and getting up towards those numbers. Next slide, please. We have cabins that have been great for isolation, and that property has just been a real godsend for us. So another one of our summer products that we only have open in the summer is Skokomish Park at Lake Cushman. And Skokomish Park we closed this season, mostly due to the crowd size that's typically attracted to Skokomish Park, and it's not unusual for us to have 600 campers overnight, and as many day visitors, so we can have 1,000 people in this park at any given time. And we just couldn't see our way around being able to operate in any form or fashion without crowding, without some of the traffic issues that it brings into the Cushman community as well. And as our neighbors, we really wanted to be careful. We didn't want to draw the traffic to Hoodsport as well. We drive about 15% of the traffic comes to visit us. So we were able to determine that whenever this resort closed. When it closed, the business had gone down, and as we built this out again and we're able to really get some business going up here, we saw the businesses down in Hoodsport grow. So we had a pretty good idea how much of that traffic in the summer actually just comes to the park. Although they were still very busy this summer and they had a good summer, I think that had a lot to do with the fact that people just were dying to get out and had nowhere to go. So we kept the park closed all summer. We used it for a period of time for the tribe to be able to go and get away from their houses, tribal members only, and that was a great relief to them. After 5 months, they were pretty pent up, and they were ready to kind of just get off their block. So it was nice to be able to, we only had a very small section open for them as well. And we had a lot of criteria. We didn't have any of our retail services open, and it was basically just for exercise, but it worked out very well for that purpose. So that's the Skokomish Tribal Enterprise businesses, the 4 of them that are located in Mason County. And that's kind of like the real quick version of our status today. Everything remains closed. The one thing I didn't mention is the boat launch at Saltwater Park, which is also, it's been closed for quite a while. And we closed it right before shrimp season, and that was also due to the traffic that it draws. And it's one of the pieces of real estate that I manage as well. And typically, just for the shrimp opening and for those first 2 weeks, we deal with hundreds of people, and we have to call out the highway patrol. And there's a huge push for people to get in, a lot of crowding, and we did not want to deal with that during this pandemic. So we closed it down, and as soon as we get out of a state of emergency, we'll be able to reevaluate these things. But we've been very cautious and very patient with how we look at everything. We have maybe 1,000 dry acres on the entire reservation. We don't have a lot of room and space. We don't have a lot of visitation outside of the summer push that we get. And now that school's open, we just don't really have a lot of people headed north of Shelton in the wintertime when it's the darkest and the coldest. So we're pretty optimistic that we should be able to continue to stay safe. I didn't mention that no one at the casino, no one at any of the businesses has contracted COVID. And we've had very few incidents on the reservation, and those have only been within the last month. So we feel pretty optimistic, but it's about fighting the good fight and hanging in there because it's not over yet. So staying consistent and not burning out and remaining diligent as we continue to work on opening these businesses again and working on opening up some of the tribal programs as well, which are still closed. So a lot of the tribal center is still closed to the public, and they're working really hard on finding ways to get those departments open again. And within the next couple of weeks, I think every department's going to have a way for people to come and do business with them and take clients again. So we're really optimistic about that as well. So I don't want to say too much. I don't want to sit here and talk for an hour. I think I kind of went through everything very fast. How do we do this from here, Heidi?
Hi, Dave. Deidre Peterson here from Shelton-Mason Chamber. That was a perfect segue, so thank you for that. We did have a few questions that came through during your presentation. So the first of those is, when will Twin Totems and the restaurant reopen? We need food options.
Thank you. So I'm going to start with the food restaurant. What we're going to do within very soon, we're going to have a curbside dining option, and you're going to be able to order online and pick up curbside. So when I say soon, I mean within a matter of the next 2 weeks, sometime in the next 2 weeks. So that it's open now. I mean, it's not that it's closed. I just wouldn't say it's the greatest dining experience because, you know, it's a mask mandatory environment. We reduced the seating to 25% of what it normally was. We take the criteria that was given to us through a lot of resources, and we continued to tighten it up a little bit till we got comfortable. So I think we have 5 tables in our restaurant. It just really, people just haven't really cared to dine in there. So we're going to do the curbside, and hopefully that will help. And that's going to be an ongoing brand. It's going to be a different brand. It's going to be called Drift 101. And it's going to have some different offerings. You're also going to be able to order the same Drift food if you'd like to, but it's a little more family friendly. We have some bundles there, some larger size items I think that people will enjoy if they're trying to feed a family. And that restaurant was really geared towards over 21 in a bar, where this is more geared towards people maybe picking something up on the way home.
Great.
The bright spot on that menu will be pizza. We have a pretty good pizza product that we're kicking out. I don't think we're going to cause a lot of competition to the pizza parlors in Shelton, but hopefully locally we'll give people an option when they're tired and off of work and something, you know, to pick up. When it comes to Twin, we're also working on some other solutions besides just opening it back up. But I hope that in October or November we'll have that sorted out. We're going to keep it the way it is through this month for sure. But I'll make sure to contact the chamber whenever we do, so you guys can communicate to everyone in the chamber as well. And Heidi in the chamber has been great with communicating with me, so it's become really important that I connect with you guys, because you guys can really help spread the word to the local community, and that's important.
Well, thank you, David. That is, after all, what we're here for, and glad to be providing this opportunity and getting an update, because I know folks are eager to know what's happening out there. In line with that last question, there was a follow-up asking when Skoke Park and the boat launch are expected to reopen.
And thank you for that question too. So as you could probably guess, the season's over. We would typically take bookings through September and stop in October. So our goal is to take bookings for next year like we normally would. We've done a lot of redevelopment at Skoke Park, spent a lot of money, and created a lot more day use. There's 4 times the day use than there was when we closed it. So we have a brand new day use park that's really nice, and it's not on the beach. It's actually in a forest, and it's called the Forest Day Use. So it's got benches and walking paths, and we made the park non-smoking with smoking areas. So we've done a lot of different things to the park in this downtime. I would look to book in December if you're going to camp, and then you might want to start peeking at what the day use is. We're going to change the model a little bit this year. When it comes to Saltwater Park, I really don't know. I can't give an answer for that. It really has to do with the state of emergency the tribe's in and the state of the pandemic. So I just can't give any solid answer there whatsoever. But whenever it does open, I will contact the chamber so you guys can communicate that.
Thanks, David. And we know that things can change from today to tomorrow, so we'll continue to check in with you as things move forward. The last question that we had come through was asking about the tribe size. It says, you mentioned that a couple of times. Why or how does that play into your response for the pandemic?
Because of the small area that we're on. So for instance, I don't know if a lot of tribes are actually located directly next to their business like this one is. So we back up to tribal housing. We're on 101. And if you blink, you've passed through the Skokomish reservation. So I think some tribes have the luxury of having a larger property and things being pushed off a bit while they're still backed up to housing. And you know, because I've done this in multiple states, and I get that, but we're so small that we really didn't want, and the tribal council's been very focused on taking care of their elder community. The Twin Totem store and the casino are such an integral part of people's day-to-day lives in that tribe, all walking distance from most housing right there, that it just doesn't make a lot of sense for us to allow a lot of the visitors in that start coming in March and April. Our business goes up about 50% from outside visitors, usually outside the state or like King County and other places, people coming to vacation or drive the 101 loop. And we know that. So we really wanted to kind of isolate from that because we normally don't get that type of visitation. When you get to even Little Creek, I mean, their player base is quite different than ours. We're very, very local. We're not even trying to compete with anyone. We really service just that general area. Although we do have people that play and have played there since we opened in 2000. It's a very small casino, as you can tell by our size and how many machines we have, and the fact we don't have table games or Keno or anything else. That we're just a slot casino. But we do have a lot of people come in and out, and we want to make sure that the tribe didn't have that kind of exposure because that's the only way they would have. So that's why we closed the store, and that's why we closed the casino for longer than I think some. And I've talked to some tribes that they're still closed, and it depends on how rural I think you are in the conversations I've had. And we're pretty rural. So for us, it's like we're pretty calm about it. We never really got too excited. We just took a deep breath and said we're willing to take a deep breath and move forward and wait for things to get better instead of try to push something that might not be the wisest thing. So
Well, David, thank you.
Tribe size does make a difference.
Yeah, well, and thank you so much for expanding on that. We really
It's
appreciate
not just the number of tribal members, it's also the geographic size and our location to the visitation that comes through only in the summer and with the snowbirders. So
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. It doesn't look like we have any other questions at this time. If some do come through, we'll go ahead and make sure those get to you. But in the meantime, thank you for your time, and I'll turn it over to Heidi to introduce our next speaker.
Awesome. Thank you.
So it is my pleasure to introduce Ray Peters from the Squaxin Island tribe. He was born and raised in Washington State and holds a Master of Arts in Teaching from Whitworth University. After graduation, Ray was a college associate professor and a collegiate basketball coach for nearly 2 decades. He was inducted into St. Martin's University Athletic Hall of Fame for his accomplishments as a coach. He returned to Squaxin Island Tribe to serve as the Deputy Executive Director, then promoted to Executive Director for 10 years. He currently serves as Intergovernmental Affairs and Council Liaison for the tribe. Ray serves on many boards and committees for the Squaxin Island Tribe, more than 10 years as a trustee of Thurston First Bank, and also as a board member of the Mason County Economic Development Council. He serves as treasurer for Washington Indian Gaming Association and has 2 children, Kennedy and Emery. And Kennedy is attending Washington State University on a full ride scholarship for women's health. With no further ado, Ray Peters.
Well, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Good. Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Heidi, for the opportunity to share what the Squaxin Island Tribe and the people of the water are doing. As everybody else in the state and across the nation and the world, we're dealing with this pandemic. And we have been fortunate. While there's been many challenges, we've been able to keep it away from our community. We were very proactive in taking measures early on in March, declaring a state of emergency and closing our borders to only essential staff and community members. And we were very consistent in that application. In regards to the casino, we closed down at the same time that all the other casinos did. We were able to keep a number of our island enterprises open. When I speak to the tribe, I really want to speak to three entities, and that is the casino, our enterprises, and then the government. And what has been effective for us is when we closed the casino, we went to work very proactively in looking at how we are going to keep not only our patrons safe, but the back of the house, a very comprehensive approach. And we take being the largest employer of Mason County very seriously. And so we needed to assure for Mason County and many of those Thurston County residents that work at our casino to assure them that we are going to be able to keep them safe as well in the practices that keep them safe. And so we went to work diligently to look at our safety plan and retraining our employees in regards to how we carry that out. Because again, safety plan is only as good as you execute it. And so we spent a lot of time on that. We took the opportunity during the closure to reorganize the floor and completely remodel and look at how we were going to be able to conduct the business to keep both of those safe, not only our patrons, but our employees. And so we reduced the gaming floor by 50% of the machines. We put into a very strict sanitizing program, as well as safety program as far as screening of employees and patrons coming through the door. We remodeled the floor. We did social distancing with our machines that opened up the floor tremendously. And when we did make that decision to open up the casino, it was with the thought of first and foremost that we had to keep our patrons safe and we had to keep our employees safe, and that we had to be consistent, not just daily, but hour by hour. And so we implemented those safety precautions, and we continue to do that. We feel we have one of the safest properties in Washington State. Since then, we have slowly opened up some of the amenities of the casino. Table games came on board only after we had safety protocols and had the shields up in front. And again, Tribal Gaming Authority helped us in developing those safety protocols, and so they are working, and we're very proud of that. There are some of the amenities, such as the buffet, which was an integral part of the business. It was located as you walk through the entrance of the property. We have discontinued that. The buffet is going to go the way of the dinosaur. We knew that. And so we have plans to repurpose that spacing and making it part of the main casino floor, so we can return someday and shortly here to the amount of machines that we had pre-COVID. But again, property-wide, we will make sure that the spacing, even after this pandemic, that we continue to have social distancing on our property. So we're very excited about that project, and it's underway right now. We made the decision early that we were going to go non-smoking, and we will evaluate that, but we continue to be a non-smoking property. Our restaurants, we had a limited food options, but again, we reduced the amount of patrons that we were serving in restaurants and social distancing. Since then, we have reopened our other venues. We are looking to add venues so we can be able to meet the needs from a food and beverage standpoint for our patrons. Some of the amenities like the RV park shut down, the golf course shut down, the pool, the spa. We slowly have opened those back up. Our hotel opened up with some important protocols as people came and checked in. We we would not enter the room until they checked out, and then it went through a complete sanitization of that room. And so we slowly continued to build up our occupancy in our rooms, but only with those safety precautions. We screen both patrons and employees each day, and each time they come on property. And then we, from day one, required all the safety precautions of wearing a mask. We have since then opened the pool back up on property, but that's only by appointment only. And that goes through a complete sanitization after a family uses it. The area that we continue to be challenged is a large part of the casino's revenue counted on banqueting, and we have not yet opened that back up. We hope that as time goes on and we get behind the pandemic, we will be able to open up our banqueting as well as, for events, but that's down the road. We did open up the golf earlier than the state, and we only did that after we made sure that we had all the precautions in place. We limited the tee times, we spread people out, we minimized any contact points at the golf course. And so we did open that up a little bit earlier, but only when we were assured that we were going to have the ability to keep our patrons safe. And so we're excited about the project that's underfoot as far as repurposing the buffet. As you walk through, it's a focal point. It's in the main entrance, and you're going to see just a beautiful entry point that is going to be gaming area. As the head count continues to go up, we will look at opening up further table games. And so we're being very cautious as we open up that facility, but people are coming back. In regards to the enterprises, we were able to keep our convenience stores open. We were able to keep Skookum Creek Tobacco open, but again, we did that under a strict safety plan to ensure that all of the standards were being met and our employees were safe as well as patrons. We will continue to feel the effects of COVID. And we were very fortunate that the tribe works off of a budget of revenues from past year. And so where we're going to see the impact and we're strategizing right now is for 2021. How are we going to handle the lost revenue? The fact that most of our enterprises, our convenience stores stayed open, it has helped that. But again, when it was stay home, stay safe, and most of the trades were closed down, that affected our sales of gas and other products, which affects the tax base in which the tribe relies on in regards to revenues for the next budget cycle. So the impact is going to be felt in 2021. In regards to enterprise, we did close down our childcare facility, and the tribal leadership is in the process of assessing when that facility will open back up, but we have yet to open that up. In regards to enterprise, we were impacted greatly in regards to our shellfish industry and being able to sell product, our gooey duck farm, wild tribal harvest, as well as the aquaculture program that enterprise runs. All those markets have been impacted. But again, we were able to, with safety protocols, be able to open back up for tribal harvest and start to harvest that product. And we began to use much of that product to feed our people. We take, being the largest employer, very seriously. And so when we opened back up the casino, it was done from a thoughtful standpoint. We continued to keep our employees employed, covered their benefits, and we are now almost back up to 100% of FTE, both enterprise and the casino. In regards to the government, we did close our border, as I said earlier. We went to essential staff only. We did have to close down our playgrounds in the housing, and we continue to provide food service for our community members, and we are now trying to implement programs to help our youth. You know, the challenges is really the youth being able to meet the needs of their educational and their mental and physical development. So many of our kids, or all kids, really rely on that social interaction to learn. And with the school going to virtual educational system, we are looking at ways that we can keep them engaged and stimulated, and making sure that their growth and their mental and spiritual needs are being met. In regards to social services, we've been able to continue those services. But again, that has been a challenge, and we continue to make strides in regards to that. And so we will continue to assess the numbers and assess opening back up our tribal lands. But with this COVID fatigue, as I say, it's easy to get tired. It's easy to get comfortable. And one of the reasons that we've been able to keep it out of our community, because we've been steadfast in those safety protocols. And what we cannot do right now is let our guard down. We need to make sure, especially going into the flu season, that we're educating our people, educating the greater community, our employees, on the importance of safety protocols, but with flu season, getting your flu shot, and educating those ones that maybe have not had that flu shot in the past, educating them on the importance more so than ever in regards to being proactive to keep yourself healthy. So we'll continue to assess that. In regards to projects that we've done, we have partnered with Taylor Shellfish to build a new, and partnered with PUD3 to build a new substation. Again, the tribe, we have needs, and we want to continue to grow and diversify our economy. And one of the infrastructure needs we needed to do was to partner with PUD and Taylor Shellfish. Taylor Shellfish provided the land. We provided a number of funding to be able to go ahead and make that power station substation a reality, and that was completed in the fall. So we're very proud of that. That will reduce the power outages, as well as being able to provide for future growth of residents and economy in the Camelchi Valley. Another one limiting factor to be able to continue to grow our economy is making sure that we have water. So again, we are working together with Taylor Shellfish in getting a water right that will meet not only their needs, but the tribe's future needs in regards to water resource. I could continue to talk on about all the work that we continue to do to diversify our economy and to take care of the needs of our people. But I'll go ahead and field any questions at this point.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ray. And that was a lot to cover in such a short time. So thank you for letting us know how you're progressing on the campus and what your plans are. One of the questions we had from a participant is in regards specifically to the property being non-smoking, does that now apply to the entire property? And what does that mean for smoking rooms and the cigar bar?
Yes, the cigar bar is a popular place, obviously, but at this point in time, and we want to be able to, obviously, we have the smoking parlor, but that continues to be closed. And we feel like if we're going to take a stance in regards to safety and be a non-smoking property, that needs to be throughout the property. So we have a no smoking across their property. We do provide a smoking area, and there is plans to increase that area to make it comfortable for people to go, but it is outside. It is not inside the walls of the property.
Okay. And the other question we had was in regards to the events. And I know you talked about banqueting and how that's a major revenue source for the casino. As Governor Inslee expanded last week in-person events and what can be offered to folks, are you considering what that means for the casino and what might that look like moving forward?
One of the things that we enjoy is an incredible relationship with the state of Washington and Governor Inslee in particular. And I really appreciate a governor that has been responsible, and he has embraced our relationship government to government. So we continue to speak to him on our plans. We are underway of looking at how we can go ahead and hold groups, small groups. We are looking at strategizing how we can go ahead and provide entertainment. And we don't have that figured out yet. It could be virtual, it could be social distancing. So all those things are underfoot right now. And we look at this an opportunity where we can get smarter, because even though we get COVID under control, there's going to be something else down the road. So it's important that we look and we strategize and create a plan for that.
Thank you so much. And I think all of us here today are proof of the fact that we're adapting to this environment and treating our gatherings in different ways. So thank you again for your time. We didn't have any other questions at this point, so I'll turn it back over to Heidi and Pam to close it.
One thing I would like to do is we are going through an extensive planning to try to develop the property across from the casino, which was the old Clary Farm, which Elevations is on. We're going through an extensive planning to be able to develop that property. So there'll be some really exciting stuff that will be decided on here in the near future. And we have some great ideas, and when time comes and we're ready to get that out to the community, we'll share that with you. But again, infrastructure is very key as well, and we look at ways that we can control the traffic flow through the highway there on 108. Thank you.
We look forward to hearing all of the new things that are coming forward. And I thank you, Ray and Dave, for joining us today. I'll turn it back over to Pam and Heidi.
You're on mute, Pam.
You would think I would get this by now. So thank you, Ray and David, for your information today and your time. It was quite interesting, and we do wish you success in your up and coming things coming up. We also want to thank all of you for attending this last session of our series. We've enjoyed it a great deal. You will receive a survey in an email, and we would appreciate that you fill that out and give us some feedback. Heidi.
Thank you. So the recording of today's webinar will be posted to masonchamber.com along with the recordings from earlier programs. If you do have any follow-up questions or would like any additional detail on the information provided, please feel free to reach out to that. And with that, on behalf of the Shelton-Mason County Chamber of Commerce, the North Mason Chamber of Commerce, and the Economic Development Council of Mason County, our presenters, thank you for joining us today, and we hope that you have a great rest of your week.